up for the very funny Nancy O'Connor. Say hello, Nancy!
An old woman's name. But I kind of have this theory that my dad named me Nancy so that no guys would want to hook up with me. And it's been pretty effective, I have to give him credit. Because nothing friend zones you quicker than my grandmother's name is Nancy. Great, now we're talking about your grandmother. I'm from a big Irish Catholic family. Big as in there is a lot of us, and big as in some of the body types are pretty big. My dad's a pretty big guy. He's not like morbidly obese or anything, but let's just say I never woke up to the sound of kale being blended downstairs. It was more like a bacon grease making its way up. He has what I would describe as a dad bod, but not what society today says is a dad bod, which is basically any celebrity without a six-pack. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't have a dad bod, my father has a dad bod. But growing up, this was all I knew. Like, all of my uncles had this body type, all of the people he works with, all of his friends. So I was just like, this is what dads look like. So I have such a strong memory of the first time I saw a thin dad. It was actually like a really confusing experience for me as a child. It was after basketball practice. It started like an ordinary day. I was waiting with a friend for our parents to pick us up, and a car pulled up, and a tall, thin guy got out, and I said to my friend, like, Stephanie, your brother knows how to drive? She was like, that's my dad. I was like, oh, is he sick? But growing up, I actually really wanted my parents to get divorced. Not because they were unhappy, they were really happy, but I had a friend who had divorced parents, and she just made it seem so glamorous. She was always talking about how she had 2 Christmases and 2 birthdays, one at her mom's and one at her dad's. I was like, you are the luckiest girl. And I became so consumed, I would literally have daydreams where I would be in court with my mom on one side and my dad on the other, and I was like, who am I gonna choose? I'm not completely sure that's how it happens, it just seemed kind of exciting. But every day I came home and they were just happier than ever. So I decided, you know what, I need to stir the pot a little bit. So I would say to my dad, like, you know, who was mom on the phone with earlier? It was kind of a long phone call, and it definitely was a guy. He's like, I think it was your Uncle John. I'm like, no, he sounded young and hot and interested. Or one day I sat my mom down, I said, I just want you to know, there are thin dads out there. I just want her to know all of her options. But despite my dream of wanting to come from a broken home, I do want to get married someday. But it's kind of tough because everyone's like, you know, nowadays to meet someone you have to go on the apps. And like, the apps are terrible, right? Like anybody else? Yeah. So, I mean, I like some apps. Like, I recently got the Citizen app. Do you guys know what that is? Yeah, so if anyone's unfamiliar, it's an app that reports local crime in your area. I think the point of it is to keep you away from those areas, but it seemed to have the opposite effect on me. Like the other day I was at work and I got a notification that 2 women were in an altercation 0.1 miles away. So I kind of had to say to my boss, like, something personal's come up. I'm just gonna have to take an early lunch. So recently my friend said to me, like, maybe if you spent less time on Citizen and more time on the dating apps, you'd have more success. I'm like, okay, you maybe have a point there. She's like, also, you're really lucky because like you're not that tall, so like you can open up your settings to include more people and you'll have some more prospects. So I was like, that's fine. I mean, like, I have nothing against a short guy. So I went into my app and I looked at what my current height settings were set at, and it was 3 feet to 7 feet. I was like, do I need to go into the 2s? Like, I have nothing against 2'9", but you have to be like really, really funny. And like maybe we could go into like a 2'8", 2'7" situation. But realistically, it's not like I'm a roller coaster fanatic, but I would love the opportunity to experience that together. delete an app. It's locals in your area. They are passionate. A couple adrenaline junkies. You know, maybe not a lot of respect for the law or private property or personal space, but like, you can't have it all, you know? Like, you have to make some sacrifices or you're gonna end up alone. But you know, spending a lot of time on it, I do wish there were like some filters I could put on the app. Like, it would just be nice to know if the armed robber 2 blocks away has blue eyes, is family oriented, preferably Catholic, not a deal breaker, but just a preference, wants kids some days. I just don't want to waste my time. All right, that's all I have. Thank you guys.
We're down to our